Hello and welcome to Out and About Art, your PGTV source for all things art in Polk County. I'm your host, Dion Spires. If you're passionate about living a creative life, then you might consider joining Lakeland Creative Makers, a group of people that meet up every month to celebrate, collaborate, and network. Organized and supported by Lakeland locals, this collective hosts a variety of different guest speakers within the arts community. During the month of May, I got a chance to attend their first meeting about the art of film. Check this out to learn more about Lakeland Creative Makers and how they view film as an art form.
Lakeland Creative Makers is a nonprofit group of individuals that meet on the first Monday of every month and get together to collab and connect and create. Josh Galetta, nicknamed Bump, he's a local artist. He's friends of mine, and he went to a makers gathering, but more like a workshop out of state, and he saw the benefit of it and the relatability of the makers that were there, that were presenting and things, that then would basically get off the platform and come and talk to people and answer any questions they had, and really making it one-on-one and personal with people. And he wanted that for Lakeland. And so we got together in the fall for coffee and dreamed of what it would look like for the makers to come to be here, what we would need and how we would organize it. And then a couple months later, we brought on Sunny. Sunny Balliette, she works for ink screen printing. She also has a studio at Artifact Studios. And so she built our website, and I do a lot of the social media. Bump recruits our speakers, and we're a unique trio, but yet all of our strengths complement each other well. We meet in different spots in Lakeland. We've met at Born and Bred, we've met at House 820, we've met at Artifact, we've met at a Pork Worker, all these different places, trying to highlight those areas. And then we will also have a guest speaker. We try and theme it a little bit. Sometimes it's photography, sometimes it's baking and cooking, sometimes it's art, all kinds of different speakers as well. And they speak for 20-30 minutes with a Q&A style, and then we wrap up with questions at the end. So it's usually in and out in about an hour. You can stay later if you want to. And we meet on the first Monday of every month at 7. Kevin O'Brien is a local filmmaker, and he's coming out with his own short film. And it was a topic we hadn't gotten to touch on very much recently, and interesting, all of the things that go into putting a film together. And he very adamantly used all of Lakeland to make his film, and his actors and backgrounds and shooting sets and everything was all locally done. And so we wanted to just highlight him and promote him and his new short film.
So I'm about to premiere my first feature film called At the End of the Day. At the End of the Day is a dramatic comedy about a conservative Christian professor who experiences a profound change when he finds himself planted in a gay support group. As he tries to stop them from launching an LGBTQ youth shelter in their town. I've been friends with Bump Galetta for years and years, and so I've been a big supporter of what they do. I've attended several of the Creative Maker events, and I guess they timed it nicely with the premiere coming up. They hadn't talked about film or filmmaking yet, so they invited me to be a part of this month's session. Making things is hard sometimes. And it can feel very lonely for a lot of times because you're by yourself making this thing. So yeah, I feel like coming together with other people who are making things and then hearing whoever the guest speaker is that day share their story, and it really is just about hearing that other people are pushing through the hardships, pushing through the writer's block and the creative blocks, and they found a way to do it. And what worked for them probably isn't going to work for you. Each story is so unique, and it can be easy sometimes to get, I used to be cynical about oh, it's just the same thing every time, where someone says, I was trying to do this thing and it was really hard, but I kept going and I made it, But then I realized that's the thing, that's the point, is listening to other people share their stories, and then you're like, oh yes, I can do this, or at least for one more day. You know, I can keep going for a little bit more. If there's anything that making a film at any budget level will help you appreciate, is every time there's some movie is made, whether no matter how stupid or silly you think it is, like the miracle of all of the pieces coming together to make something is fantastic. And I feel like there's at least that, like, you know, there's at least they believed in something enough to make it. You know, sometimes it doesn't reach what the, you know, creators intended. Sometimes it was meant to be completely silly, and I think there's room for all of that. There's room for the Oscar contenders. There's room for the silly movies. You know, they all have their place. Yeah, I just hope that my film, that I'm able to help people, or that my film can move people to laugh and to cry and to maybe re-examine some things in their life.
So this is our 14th or 15th meeting, and the very first meeting we were hoping to have like 10, 15 people maybe. We met at Art Centric Studio, my studio space, and we ended up having over 50 people come, and the numbers have remained pretty consistent with 50 to 70 people in attendance depending on the month, I guess. So it gives us fuel and fire, because we know that it's a need for Lakeland if that many people are coming out. We have new people every month that have never been before. So it's great to see it consistently growing and thriving.
I feel like the importance of the Creative Makers meetup is about the everyday, the small things that we all make. Like this is, you know, I've been working on this project for 4 years, so the film is like a big thing that I've been working on for a long time. And sometimes the speakers or the key, you know, the people who are being interviewed they're talking about a big project they had. But what I love is when we hear from people who have a regular day job and they're doing something on the side, and like this is their passion, this is what they want to make. They're not making money off it, or they sell at some indie fleas just enough to maybe cover their costs, but certainly not pay them for their time in making it. But it's this thing where like they have to make it, you know, like they won't be a whole person if they're not making it. And I think the community of people who do that here is really what makes it special, and that it's not necessarily these big things. So for people who are woodworkers and doing those things on their own, or even if it is their business, I feel like, again, like that community, so much of those things you make on your own in isolation, in a shop or at an editing station, or at a desk, and just getting together with other people who are in that same mindset, I think is really important.
Anybody that would want to come and are interested in what it is, who it is, how it runs, that kind of thing, is more than welcome. We have people that come from Winter Haven, Plant City, Orlando, and Tampa that have been here and traveled a good ways to just kind of see what it's doing, how it's growing. Little side fun thing, we do name tags. And we do, you put your name on it, but we also do maker of on the name tag. So you have to kind of ID yourself a little bit, and we joke that a lot of creatives are introverts, so it helps them have something in common with the person next to them maybe. And so a photographer might be standing next to a baker, or an artist might be standing next to a printmaker, a woodworker, that kind of thing. And it really creates a connection that they don't have to find for themselves, and no one has to remember each other's names too, because I'm terrible at that. So it's super helpful in helping those connect. We also created a database, a roster. We have over 100 people on our roster that are all of these things. So if it goes out on our Facebook group or on our Instagram that someone has a gallery show and they need a photographer, we can send them our list of photographers that are local in Lakeland, and this is their job and profession that we can support as often as we can. Collaboration always.
If you'd like to join or learn more about Lakeland Creative Makers, follow them on the web at Moving on to another staple of the Lakeland creative scene, the Lakeland Art Guild is back at Florida Southern College for their 46th annual Melvin Gallery Spring Art Exhibition Show. The Spring Art Exhibition gives new artists a chance to showcase their work in a gallery setting while getting feedback from an expert judge. 7 other regional art guilds were invited to present their work for this year's theme, Life Out Loud. Check this out for more information about the Lakeland Art Guild and the Melvin Gallery Spring Art Exhibition Show.
Actually, the Lakeland Art Guild was founded prior to 1971, but actually became a nonprofit organization in 1971, and so has been in existence for several decades now in the Lakeland area. Most recently, in the last couple of years, we've been involved with Art Crawl. We also had our first spring art show this year in March, and it was on the grounds of the First Presbyterian Church. So that gave a lot of local artists the opportunity to kind of experience the art festival, the outdoor art festival experience. And also then, of course, we have our ongoing shows at the RP Funding Center, the old Lakeland Civic Center, and they have a beautiful gallery for us. Right now, the gallery, along with many parts of the inside of the RP Funding Center, are under construction for improvements. So in October, we will have our gallery back, bigger and better. And so all of our shows at the RP Funding Center are juried and judged, and we have cash awards, as we do with this show as well. And so that's another way for our artists to be able to promote their work and to build their resume. That's very important for a lot of artists that are looking to get into bigger and better shows, art festivals. A lot of the time they need to have a resume showing they've won awards or they have participated at least in juried shows. So those are the main projects that we have right now, along with the annual Melvin Gallery Art Show, which has been going on for over 40 years. The Lakeland Art Guild has been showing here. And also to hold monthly membership meetings and give our members a chance to participate in the direction of the Art Guild as well.
Well, this is our 46th annual show at Florida Southern in the Melvin Gallery facility. And this year we've elected to go regional rather than just local. So we have art groups from all over Polk County, Highlands County, and Hillsborough County participating. The judge was relatively new to the area, didn't know a lot of the local artists, and we gave him, which we like in our judges. We like people that don't know the local artists that well. It's a fairer judging environment. The theme of the show was very general in nature, so that nothing could be eliminated for any one particular reason. Life Out Loud is the theme, and basically artists are very passionate about their work, and they tend to live life out loud through their work. So that is the premise, and the judge had no restrictions as to what was kept in. We did jury out about 25% of the entries. I've always appreciated classic cars, classic automobiles, and I tend to paint those more than anything. I paint a number of subjects, but I'm probably most known for classic automobiles. Well, I think it gives a venue for local artists to display their work, and it encourages involvement with the community and gets them to appreciate art more.
I joined a couple of guilds, one in Plant City and the Lakeland Guild, and in an effort to meet other artists, other creatives, you know, and a way to meet people in a new place. I started working in stained glass about almost 20 years ago. My background's in graphic design. I spent 30 plus years as a graphic designer, and picked up some supplies at a yard sale and took a class, and that was history. My husband always said, I wish you'd find something and stick with it. Well, I started doing shows, traveling around Michigan and Indiana and Chicago area, and I did that for about 16 years. And I sold everything before we moved down here and retired from that. Now I'm just teaching classes. I'm teaching in Plant City and in Lakeland and in Bartow right now. So That's where I'm sharing my love of the art with others by teaching classes. There's such a wide range of artists. I'm meeting lots of painters in different mediums, but very accomplished artists, especially in the Guild. That was one of the things that impressed me. I met the past president, Pat Leggett, at the East Hillsborough Art Guild, and she invited me to the Lakeland Guild. And I was just so impressed with the number of members and the accomplishments that so many of them have, and it was really inspiring. So I think people forget that, so often arts are cut right away in the schools, and it is such an important area for students coming up, adults, learning a new place, something to do with their time. It's a way to express themselves and get feelings out sometimes. Sometimes, especially for children, it's the only avenue they have to express themselves. And, if they don't have somebody to, kind of take them by the hand sometimes and show them what they can do with it, they're losing out. And so are we.
Well, the main purpose of the Lakeland Art Guild is to lend support to local artists, to provide opportunities for them to show their work, to network with other artists, to advertise their classes, their workshops, and to bring forth wonderful art into the Polk County area and primarily the Lakeland area. But we are welcoming of any artists in Central Florida to join the Lakeland Art Guild. We have many, many talented people and many artists and other individuals that are not artists that are members of the Guild that love art and therefore try to do everything they can to promote art in the community and to promote the artists as well. First, go to our new website, new and improved, beautiful website. It's www.lakelandartguild.com. And on that website, there are several drop downs in the menu, and one of them, of course, is for new members or even for existing members to go in and add information to their profiles, to renew their membership, or if you're a new member, of course, to join and pay your membership. So we have different levels of membership also. We have a lot of artists in the area that usually don't have the opportunities to get their work out to the public. So we provide, that is a very important service that the Lakeland Art Guild provides. But also networking with other artists and to be able to learn about other opportunities for them to be able to become involved with and to show their work. So I think that's mostly that's the most important duty that the Lakeland Art Guild does, is helping the artists to promote their work.
The Melvin Gallery Spring Art Exhibition Show will run through June 8th. For more information about the Lakeland Art Guild, visit www.lag.clubexpress.com. Finally, we're taking a peek inside the Mulberry Cultural Center. The Mulberry Cultural Center is an arts and humanities exhibit and classroom space featuring rotating temporary exhibits and engaging programming. Check this out to learn more about the center and their current exhibit, The Language of Creation by Sheila Burgos.
So the Mulberry Cultural Center is an arts and humanities exhibit space and classroom space. So we have a revolving set of exhibits, 8 a year approximately. They run for 6 weeks, and so that can be anything from an art opening to, we've had blues music exhibits, to woodworking, anything in the arts and humanities. And then we also have classroom space that we try to tie into whatever the exhibit is, and we also have ongoing programs. It's a lot of fun and a lot of different variety. There are ongoing programs that we have. One is art history for kids, which is exactly what the title sounds like. We pick an artist or an art form throughout history, and the kids actually make it as well as learn. And it's a really good way to get those critical art eyes open at a young age, and it's a ton of fun. I think what's unique about the Mulberry Cultural Center is, one, it's in Mulberry, so that makes it unique, but also that we have a little bit of everything. As I mentioned before, outside we do have a community cupboard, which is a place, it's a cabinet essentially where you can drop off food or pick up food if that is your need. We also have non-perishable items in there, and it's completely run by the community, so it's sort of a no shame, no hassle way to give back. So we do a lot of things like that as well. The pool passes come here, we're an event space. we really want to be integral to the community because that's what helps us survive too. Right now we have The Language of Creation by Sheila Burgos. It's a mixed media abstract expressionist exhibit, which are these gorgeous, colorful pieces behind me and all around. It's a joyful exhibit. You come in and you really get a sense of who Sheila is, but also what she's trying to convey about her childhood and her background in Puerto Rico and her lush memories of her tropical island. I think you get that as soon as you walk in. And the pieces are, they're intense, that you want to stay with them a little bit. They're large in scale with a ton of color and texture. And I think every time I look at one, I notice something new.
This exhibit is called Creation. The language of creation. I got inspired by nature, especially by flowers. I come from Puerto Rico. It's an island and it's a tropical island, so my colors tend to be very bright. And my style is very expressive, even though I can paint very figurative. When I find myself painting very figurative, I go and I break that. So I start making lines and making marks and express myself more in the painting. I was approached by a friend and I just submitted my art. I feel very lucky. I'm very thankful for the opportunity the center has given me. This is my first solo show, and it's an awesome space. And I feel like the work that I have been doing for almost 2 years, they found a home for me to share it with the world. Because I do art for me, because I have to create to be able to function. But then I want to share that with the world. So finding this place for me is very special, and the place is very special too. A place where people can come for free and create memories with the experience of looking at my artwork, or maybe some colors are gonna be reminiscent of something people have in the backyard, or maybe they remember when they went to a trip to a garden or something. So it is very special. I feel very thankful. I'm very lucky for the Mulberry City, for the center, for all the staff. This a jewel in Mulberry. So this piece behind me is called Florida, which means bloom in Spanish. And it has a lot of flowers, like a wild flower field, when you can find every kind of diversity. And the same happens here in Florida. You can find people from every ethnicity, race, religion. So, but at the end, we are part of this creation that makes us unique and what creates the community. So I want people to come here because this piece is not completed. Until people come here, they can sit down in the chair, they can take a photo, they can take a selfie. I want people to not be afraid of art, to be part of art. So I encourage people to come and take a look of the piece and sit down and just enjoy it and be part of the creation. I paint since I was a little girl. And after high school, I wanted to study like fine arts, but I went for a more commercial route. So I studied graphic arts. I did a lot of screen printing and engravery, and then I went to work in a corporate world in advertisement, but I was craving that part of me creating with paint. So I think about 15 years ago, I started painting again. but full-time about maybe 3 years ago. I went back to the canvas. I wanted to paint very big and like be more free with my art. And for me, it's essential. It's life. It's what I do. And even if I have another day job or another part-time, for me to be able to continue painting, I will do it because it's a necessity for me. Just don't be afraid of the white. Don't be afraid of it. At the end, it's just paint. You can paint over it. I have painted over so many canvases. And what I usually do is break the canvas with a mark, with words. I start writing words and then go with the flow. If you want to do a sketch, you can do a sketch, but do it for the process and for the experience. Art is very expressing yourself, even if it's painting, writing, dancing, cooking. Just don't be afraid to do it because it's part of us as human beings, and sometimes we neglect that part of expressing ourselves, and we tend to, I don't know, lose a little bit of our soul. So it's very important. So don't be afraid. Start today with a piece of paper, with a notebook. You don't have to have expensive materials. You have materials in your home that you can use. Sometimes, you know, when I began painting, I didn't have like fancy kind of paints. I painted with tempera. That is a very inexpensive paint, but I just wanted something fluid for me to put a brush on. If not, if you like pencils, just take crayons, take pencils, anything. But just start and don't be afraid of the white paper, of the white canvas. Just do it.
I think art belongs to everybody, and you don't need to always have it in your head that you have to go to Tampa, Orlando, or even Lakeland in order to participate in it. And I think that's the important word, is that it's participatory. It is your experience coming in, it is your journey through the gallery, it's your opinion of the artwork, and not everything will be for everybody, but I think once it's in your backyard, it feels a little bit more accessible to you, and then therefore you can maybe try your own hand at art or have your own personal experience with it. Future plans is to keep doing what we're doing, bringing in, we'd like to vary it up. Hopefully we can get something that nobody's seen before. We're always keeping an eye out for what's traveling around outside of the state even to bring in. It's been really interesting to see how many local artists have approached us now that I think we've proven we can do a pretty good show, and that they have a talent that they've always wanted to display, and that's been really fun to work with to encourage local artists as well. My least favorite thing is being the best kept secret. I hate that phrase. I don't want it to be a secret. So I want to encourage people to come out because we are free to just visit. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 to 5. If you're heading out to Tampa or heading into Bartow or south of Lakeland, we really are right on your way. I think maybe just come in, stop by, check out our calendars, spend some time. The staff is great and friendly, and I think you'll fall in love and start coming back. Just have to experience it one time.
That's all I have for this month, but there's always plenty going on within the Polk County art scene. Stay tuned for a list of art events coming up in your area. This is my last episode as your host, but it's been an honor and a privilege to show off the exciting, thriving world of the arts and culture right here in Polk County. Thank you for joining me, and tune in next time for more art out and about.